Born April 10, 1870, Vladimir Lenin was born in Simbirsk, Russia, and gradually rose to be a totalitarian over the years. Opposite to popular belief, Lenin did indeed control every aspect of a person's life. As he led the Bolsheviks to a Russian revolution, he fed the people sugar-coated lies such as a promised equality and a better economy. In reality, he starved his enemies and surrounded himself with loyal people and secret police. Underneath a friendly mask, he hid a fear that Russia's loyalty to him would falter. As he once said, a lie told often enough eventually becomes the truth. He used his own words to deceitfully fool the Russian population and rule absolutely. Lenin's father, Ilya Ulyanov, was a local school's inspector. He held conservative views and practiced the Russian Orthodox religion. Because of his occupation, Lenin was able to receive a decent education. However, his older brother, Alexander Ulyanov, had radical views, and Lenin was sucked into the ideas of Karl Marx. Vladimir Lenin was an intelligent, cunning man who studied law, and eventually joined revolutionary groups at Kazan. In 1897, he was exiled to Siberia for his radical, rash views, but was released in 1900. Because of his controversial ideas, he changed his name from Ulyanov to Vladimir Lenin to protect his safety. He began to spread Marxist ideas. As Marxism gained popularity, it split into two sides, the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks. Lenin belonged to the radical Bolsheviks that wanted an overturning revolution of the Czars right away. Lenin took advantage of the unrest during World War I and led the October Revolution. After overturning the Czar's empire, he turned against the potential military dictator Kerensky. Then, the All-Russian Congress of Soviets met, and power was transferred to the Soviet Council of People's Commissars. Lenin was quickly elected chairman and essentially a dictator. Soon after Lenin took power, he created the Brest-Litovsk Treaty to end World War I to gain popular support. He pushed the dictatorship of the proletariat idea as long as he made the executive decision.
However, an uprising transformed into Russia's Civil War, which lasted from 1918 to 1920, aka the Reds versus the Whites. The Reds were the communists in favor of Lenin's rule, and the Whites were people whose ideal government consisted of monarchies, democracies, tyrannies, and aristocracies. As the Civil War dragged on, Lenin, along with his generals Stalin and Trotsky, took control over Russia. During this time, Lenin truly became a totalitarian by essentially killing 50 million people in the war. Only about 800,000 people died in combat, but Lenin starved people against him and truly ruled everyday life, including what you ate, whether you lived, and where you slept. Eventually, the army triumphed and the Age of Lenin began.
In order to regain the trust of the peasant population, Lenin encouraged nationalism, a concept not usually agreed to while practicing communism. It was a way of unifying the country after the war, and he reintroduced capitalism with small farms that were allowed to sell extra food. This was a way of controlling every aspect of life because he could control what kind of profit people brought in, how they felt about their country, and basically how kids were brought up. Kids were brought up with the communist mentality. He literally controlled what the kids thought. He took over the education of the children and turned them against their own parents by encouraging them to talk to the secret police if their parents badmouthed the government, saying, "Give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted." He split the Czar's empire into small independent factions while really pulling the strings on all operations, deciding who should be fired and who got a promotion, basically whoever supported him. He surrounded Russia with secret police, and they reported anyone who talked behind his back, and then had them turned in or killed. Eventually, the only people left were the population that truly supported Lenin or were hiding their true feelings. He took over everyday life, such as where you shopped, what you ate, and whom you associated with. He even went so far as to create a constitution that promoted a socialist, democratic government while upholding the Communist Party, which controlled the whole country. He had total power over everything and everyone.
Lenin was shot at in 1918 and hit twice, but escaped alive with several wounds. However, he died in January 1924 after a series of strokes, and his legacy was soon overruled. But during the time span that he ruled, he had total control. Due to his fear of being overthrown, He became a die-hard autocrat and attempted to control daily life. For a while he succeeded, and through the secret police and basic education killed millions of innocent civilians.